evening, good morning, wherever you may be around the globe, in the chat room, on another planet, or on the other side. This is The Last Frequency, and I am Mike Vara, and I do welcome all of you, wherever it is you may be. This broadcast is coming at you live from the capital city, Columbia, South Carolina, located on the east coast of the United States. And, well, it's Sunday night. And we are live not only on the VARA network, but we're also over there on YouTube. And, well, you can find us on various other places like TuneIn and the Paranormal Radio app. And, well, there's just a whole list. Just go check it out. It's all on the website for you, lastfrequency.com. Again, go check it out. And the archives are free, and they'll be... last night was a pretty good show. You know, Robert Pepino, he had messaged me. If you were paying attention last night, he had missed the show. But you know what? I thought he had misinterpreted the message, the email, but he didn't. He actually was tired and fell asleep. And I guess I can understand that when it's after midnight. So he'll be with me next week. But tonight I have, I have a first-time guest joining me tonight. I know of him. I've known of him. I've seen bits and pieces of his show in the past. And I think at one point we actually had a mutual stalker. I won't even get into that. That's many moons ago. Vinny Eastwood joins me tonight. He is a talk radio host, singer, songwriter, comedian, filmmaker, and as they say, an all-around good guy. So we'll be talking to him tonight. And he's going to discuss his possibly facing jail time for nothing more than protesting. He was protesting the lockdowns, and and he is, well, he's going to talk about the communism of New Zealand too. So we're going to get into a few things here with Vinny tonight, and we'll do that in just a little bit. In the meantime, before the break, I've got a little bit of news, kind of in discovery stuff that I want to get into briefly, really quick here. Scientists have discovered a secret planet hiding in our solar system. Yet again, here we go again, right? Every time this Planet X thing starts dying down, something new comes out, you know. So there are 8 planets in our solar system, plus poor old Pluto, which was demoted in 2006, but what if there were more, they say? Turns out that might be the case. Astronomers have calculated there is a 7% chance that Earth has another neighbor hiding in the Oort cloud, a spherical region of ice chunks and rocks that is tens of thousands of times further from the sun than we are. Hidden worlds like this are a class of planets that should definitely exist but have received relatively little attention. That is until now. If a planet is hiding in the Oort cloud, it almost certainly, they say, is an ice giant. I guess they would know that, right? Large planets like Jupiter and Saturn are generally born as twins, and they have huge gravitational pulls of their own, however, and sometimes they destabilize one another, like interfere. And that could have led to a planet to be nudged out of the solar system entirely, or exiled to its outer reaches where the Oort cloud resides. Now, amazingly, it can sometimes be easier to spot planets hundreds of light years away than those right in our own backyard. Yet people will get pictures of it with their cell phone. You know how they do it. Boy, they got amazing cell phone cameras to be able to get photos of Planet X right there. Anyways, I'm over on Facebook, Twitter. I am on, obviously, YouTube, Rumble. You can find me on Truth Social. You can get click right on the buttons and go right to it. Right from the website, lastfrequency.com. A researcher says that the first UFO crashed in Italy in 1933, and he has evidence. So he says not Roswell, it was Italy. An Italian researcher claims they have proof that backs up recent allegations that a crashed UFO was recovered in Italy in 1933. It adds to a growing interest in unidentified anomalous phenomena, as they call it now, that now includes elected officials and a NASA panel. I have a lot of faith in that. Italian ufologist Robert Pinatio, okay, let me say that right, Pinatio, says that fascist dictator Mussolini got his hands on a flying saucer after it crashed on June 13th of 1933, and he claims they have proof of this. I wonder if I can get a hold of this guy. It'd be nice to have him on. Last but not least, orcas. They seem to be fighting back. They've had enough of humanity's BS, I guess. Orcas are attacking boats, and this phenomena seems to be spreading. I would not want to mess with an orca. Orca will wreck your day. The seaborne mammals have sunk 3 boats and damaged 100 more over the past 18 months or so. Yeah, they're getting tired of it. They see what happens in places like the Cove, and, they're just a little tired. Maybe they're tired of a lot of things. Military testing, and there's a lot of stuff goes on out there that I'm sure ticks these intelligent mammals off. The phenomena, which seems to be limited to a rare and endangered population of Iberian orcas, had until very recently been regulated to the waters of Spain and Portugal, with multiple reports and instances of unprovoked attacks on boats. I think they're trying to send a message. The animals seem to go for the rubber, and in some cases even follow the crippled boats back to the port. They want to make sure that they get out of their neighborhood. Now, according to reports, there's even been a case of this kind of thing happening off the coast of Scotland, more than 2,000 miles away, suggesting that the behavior is spreading and the animals are literally teaching one another to attack boats. Experts believe that this behavior may have been started with an adult female named White Gladys who survived some sort of traumatic event, such as being injured by a collision with a boat, or being hunted. Could be being hunted. Maybe one of their family members are stuck in SeaWorld. Younger orcas then started to copy her and tend to spread among the population. So they're teaching each other, you see a boat, bad news, get it. Yeah, that doesn't make me want to get on a boat and go out in the ocean anytime soon, I can tell you that. All right, so folks, I'm going to take a break, and then I'm going to come back, and I will have Vinny Eastwood joining me, and I'll tell you more about him in just a few minutes. This is The Last Frequency. I am Mike Vara, and yes, we are live, and we'll be back in just a few minutes, so go away.
Carolina Radio, Columbia.
Excellent.
Number one means you're always on top. Your number one radio.
You're listening to the VARA Network. Hey, frequencies of all walks of life. Keep up with all things TLF Radio by joining our mailing list. Go to the bottom of the homepage and fill in the form. You'll get everything from guest info and show info and other important station-related information. So sign up now.
Crazy ass bumper stickers and more.
What?
You heard me. crazy ass bumper stickers, and more.
What?
Crazy ass bumper stickers and more.
What?
For all your bumper sticker needs, just click on the Crazy Ass Bumper Stickers banner located at the foot of my website, www.lastfrequency.com. That's Crazy Ass Bumper Stickers and more.
You're making me crazy.
I want to talk to you about something very important for a moment here, folks. That is clean drinking water. Now, you can survive without it for about 3 days. How do you know yours is even pure? You don't, but I'll tell you what is. This is the ultimate water filtration solution. It's called Alexa Pure Pro, and it is a groundbreaking gravity-fed water filtration system that outperforms all the others for less. I personally stand behind the Alexa Pure Pro water filtration system because I use it.
This is
The last frequency.
You are the resistance.
Welcome to the night. From the Midlands of South Carolina, you're listening to The Last Frequency with your host, Mike Vara. To get questions directly to Mike Vara, you can call in or message Mike on our website, www.lastfrequency.com. Now, here is Mike Vara.
All right, back we are. This is The Last Frequency. And yes, I am Michael Vara. And again, the website, get on over to it, lastfrequency.com. That's lastfrequency.com. The archives are free over there, so have at it. And I don't know, go check it out. It's there for you. It's not only my archives, I got some others too. Got Late Night in the Midlands in there, which is mine still. But we got Tim Roxbury in there, and hopefully be adding some more here soon too. I got Uncensored, that's in there. You can get all those absolutely free, so knock yourself out. And again, you'll find me on social media. All that's on the website. So let me tell you a little bit about my guest. And I should mention, you want some bumper stickers? Crazy ass bumper stickers. Oh yes. And she, Kathy's pretty awesome. She probably one of the bigger supporters of this radio show and even this network, and we appreciate it. She's always coming up with stuff, like coloring books, and just different things, and the bumper stickers are awesome. So get you some. I got some here. I got, I like to stick them on places. You know what I notice when I go to the grocery store sometimes is I see these InfoWars stickers. They're sticking them on these shopping carts, and these things are like Gorilla Glue. I mean, you want to get it off, good luck. But yeah, crazy ass bumper stickers. Go get you some. All right. So, Vinny Eastwood, talk radio host, singer, songwriter, comedian, filmmaker, all-around good guy, as they say. Vinny Eastwood is a New Zealander, and it says here with much more reach into the United States and global truth movement than any other. Hilarious, cynical, insightful, inspirational, terrifying, enlightening, and incredibly modest. Yes, it would seem so. From 2008 till today, he's created over 6,000 published videos and radio broadcasts consisting of 20,000 hours of long-form interviews with over 2,000 plus of the world's leading thinkers, researchers, inventors, warriors, scientists, and professionals from hundreds of different disciplines, gaining what few come to possess: perspective. And his website, www.thevinnyeastwoodshow.com. And so I'm going to attempt to connect him. I noticed that I had one of them window. Good evening, Vinny. How are you tonight? Oh, hold on one
Please, yes,
second.
I'm good. I'm actually really good. Thank you.
My settings here. Hold on a second. There was an update, a Windows update. So let me go and change this back.
Take your time, mate.
Best. How about now?
I can still hear you. I just can't see you. You haven't got your camera on.
How about now?
Not yet.
Still not hearing you. Let's see. Can I hear you now?
Testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Well, let's try this. All right. Wrong. Let's see. Let's try this one. How about now?
Okay, let's see.
There it is. All right, we got you.
Fantastic.
Great. So how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fantastically. I'm so sorry about the difficulty with the technical issues. This is what happens in live radio. You just can't prepare for it, including people just calling me for no reason. You'll have to excuse me 1 second.
Oh, that's okay. Go right ahead. That just happened to me a couple minutes ago.
I'm live on the radio.
No, not that. That should be it.
I
There
can't
we
talk
go.
to you right now. I'm live on the radio. Bye-bye. Sorry about that. Somebody wants to drop off some baby clothes.
That's quite all right. It happens. Believe me. My phone's here. I turn it off and it still makes noise on me. So, but hey, welcome to the Last Frequency. You know, I've followed you in the past. I've seen your show. I've heard of you. I don't think I've ever had an opportunity to talk to you though. So it's good to have you on. And so what's going on in your world there?
Well, you know, New Zealand is an exotic and strange place to an American. It's full of people who drink a lot of beer and watch a lot of sports, and people who drink a lot of fluoride and watch a lot of movies and listen to a lot of music, and people who only have a passive interest in their politics, and all their politicians are corrupt, and people perceive it as being great and free or something like that when it's anything but. You know, the air is sprayed with chemtrails all over the place. We've got 5G and Wi-Fi radiation from everybody's routers cooking the whole population and lighting them up like Christmas. You know, it'd be hard to an American to really understand New Zealand. You know, it's whatever you got over there, man, we've got it over here. It's just got a different accent.
Yeah. Well, right now it seems the entire world is corrupt. It's gone the way of the woolly mammoth, I think here, and so you know, I don't know as though it's going to get any better. So you're experiencing it firsthand over there, huh?
Oh yes, the long hand of the New World Order does stretch as far as the isolated, remote archipelago of New Zealand. It does. And the icy tendrils of its grip are very cold indeed. Now, what we're talking about here is, first of all, can you be arrested for peacefully protesting in New Zealand and banned from protesting as a bail condition? Why, yes, you can. We know that now. So that's spelling doom for free speech in general. And, of course, the people who went down to the capital, Wellington, months later to camp out on Parliament lawn, and not one single parliamentarian came out to hear their pleas, and then got police with sound cannons and EMF weapons and big rubber bullets and things of that nature to just move them on with their body armour and riot shields. And New Zealand has become a different place. The things that you would think about in the Lord of the Rings and the beautiful scenery and whatnot have a dark cloud over them if they can do things like this to people like me and the thousands of people that occurred at the protest. And our bail conditions were like insane. In the middle of the lockdown, we were not allowed to leave the house. We had police knocking on our door at 4 o'clock in the morning, making sure we were still there.
Oh, my God.
We had no cell phones, not allowed, and we weren't allowed to access the internet. And myself and Billy TK, who were arrested, weren't even allowed to talk to each other. And that condition was in place for like over a year.
Holy cow.
I mean, the cell phone and the freedom of speech and internet, the police actually said they did not want to remove that bail condition when we tried to appeal it because, quote, it would not curb their ability to spread anti-lockdown sentiment.
Incredible. Incredible. You know, it seems like the United States is right there knocking on the door, too. I mean, believe me, this place has flipped the script, too. You know, you get in trouble just for speaking out now. But, yeah, so you're possibly going to be sentenced, what I was reading, up to 3 months in prison?
Oh, yeah.
Just for protesting.
Oh, yeah, peacefully.
Unbelievable. Well, in the United States, they call peaceful protest burning down neighborhoods, you know. That's what the news says. Oh, it's peaceful protests. I know that's not your situation. But.
Oh, well, I mean, before our protest occurred during a level 2 lockdown, Black Lives Matter had one of their little protests here. And nobody was arrested then, and nobody was wearing masks, and nobody was social distancing, so... it kind of seems like the United States, the left sort of gets a pass, just like with this new Voice of Freedom film coming out. If anybody's been studying into ritual satanic abuse and interviewed people like Jay Parker, you'd know that this is an old subject. And indeed, that film was apparently buried by Disney for, what was it, up to 5 years or something of that nature, to prevent it from getting out. And this is a microcosm of really what's happening sort of in every sector of society, in every part of the world. It's a system that has taken hold here. And this system, I mean, for lack of a better word, is technocracy, where technology will control the people and their habits and things of that nature. You couldn't have had all of these things that we got arrested for without the technology that was there to spread the propaganda infinitely and repetitively into the minds and ears of every single person who was near a digital device of any kind for a period of nearly 2 years. This is an astounding fraud upon mankind. And we stood against that. And now the appeal process is happening because after 2 years of the court going through its infinitely slow juggernaut of processes, we've finally been convicted, we've finally been sentenced, and now we're going to the appeal. Because if you can't peacefully protest lockdowns, what can you peacefully protest that the government doesn't want you to? Right?
Exactly. It'll set a precedence, you know?
That's right. And there is a precedent with a person I actually protested alongside many years ago when I was first starting out as a young videographer and activist by the name of John Minto. And he led a protest during the 80s where the Springboks, that's the South African rugby team, were coming here, and they had things like honorary black players and things of this nature during apartheid. And they were protesting that, and they were smashing police officers. They were burning cars and things of that nature. John Minto was sentenced to prison, but in his appeal, you know, it's noted that this isn't just wanton violence. This is a protest of a kind for a reason. And so his appeal was successful, and that set a precedent back then. So that's one of the cases that we are relying on for our appeal. And it seems that New Zealand has entered a very dark propagandistic age whereby even in the street, ordinary people, if you tell them what you know, not what you believe, but what you know, they will treat you like a heretic. There is a religiosity with this mindset around this issue that is terrifying to behold. People have been programmed quite successfully.
Oh, absolutely. They've been programmed successfully, and here they start in the in the classroom, in the kindergarten, first grades, and they start indoctrinating these children, and as they get older, I mean, as you see now, I see it here. Some of these kids who grew up the last decade or 2 decades, they got a different mind frame, different mindset. It's really changing things, and it's a hold that's around the entire planet. I mean, God, we got cameras everywhere. I was just saying this last night. You can't go anywhere. I'm in Columbia, South Carolina. You can't go anywhere without a camera seeing you. I mean, there's cameras everywhere. So.
I just had a person today, all these disasters and weather-related incidents, been having them in New Zealand too, wiped out 50% of the horticulture sector of what's known as the fruit bowl of New Zealand. Some on-flow effects from that kind of thing. They busted deliberately banks of rivers so it would flood small towns and things of that nature, and didn't even tell them about it before they did it. So that walls of water came rushing at them at 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. Right? Rumors are abound about like hundreds and maybe even 1,000 people dead because of what the government allegedly did. But the government's official figures is only 8 died in the floods. Now, that's something that we also need to be mindful of, is how the media is adept at twisting things. And basically, they just lie. All right?
Oh,
It's just simple. They're just liars. They lie. It's what they do. And you can't trust a liar. Right?
Right.
Pure and simple. The more you listen to them, the worse your mind becomes, because it gets filled up with no alternatives to these lies. And I think that's why a lot of people are trying to seek out alternative media sources, although with the banning and shadow banning and deplatforming and things of that nature based upon conversations of this ilk, it's almost impossible for anybody to make a name for themselves or to come up around this, I mean, I lost 65,000 subscribers,
Oh yeah, believe me, I've faced it too. I got hit hard. YouTube nailed me for every little thing. Facebook, all the social medias were banning me for a while, and I got some accounts back now. But you got to watch every little thing you do or say, or they'll get rid of you. And it's hard to advance that way. It really is, and they know that. That's why they do it.
Precisely. Yeah. That's the situation that we're dealing with. Basically, a cage has been built, and now the walls are just closing in. And that sort of fighting spirit, I don't know, I guess I used to have it, but after so many years, seeing the progress of the enemy and fighting so hard, and yet to see the enemy still progress. And these are the enemies of truth, love, and freedom. Anybody who's all about lies, hate, and tyranny is the enemy of me, whether or not I know them, whether or not they know me, because it really is something that is instilled in the heart and the mind of what you might call decent people, is to not do those bad things, or if you do, feel really, really bad about it and try and make up for it if you can. And this is not the most common mentality anymore. I see people just largely becoming users, consumers. They don't produce, they don't give back. It's a taker mentality.
Oh yeah, believe me, you're seeing it right too, because that's exactly what it's like. I mean, now it's just insane. I mean, even the courts. I mean, you must be concerned. I mean, like I know here, a lot of the courts have been just basically, I mean, you can't trust them either. They go against what's right, it seems now. And so, when you appeal, do you expect to get, any fairness out of any of this?
Well, reminds me of a joke. I saw a guy at a music festival in the morning walking down the path and eating a banana. And I said to him, "A banana for breakfast? I don't see the appeal." And if I may be so bold as to say, I've had quite a lot of experience with court corruption, okay, in terms of the amount of guests that I've had on my show, and proper activists like Vince Seamer and Penny Bright, the late Penny Bright, who've gone into court. I believe Penny Bright won against the Auckland Council when they got her arrested 21 out of 22 times, not a day's legal training in her life. She cost the council millions and millions of dollars because she refused to leave council meetings when they were talking about private contract procureship, which is, as people might not realise, the number one cause of corruption in the world, according to Transparency International, involves private contracting. The number one source of corruption. And if you've got practices like that, they're generally roughly about twice as expensive as doing in-house services. We used to have people who worked for the council who did all the business and stuff like that, and now we've just got contractors rolling around. Okay? And it's now twice as expensive to do everything. Isn't that interesting? It's another one source of corruption. She uncovered that, and it only took her getting arrested 22 times.
Yeah. I tell people I don't know if it's going to get any better. I mean, where we are right now, I don't know if we can, tip the tilt back. I hope we can, but I mean, you need enough people to wake up and enough people to actually, voice their concern. And right now, it just seems like people, they get, like you were talking about the media, it's like if somebody keeps lying to me, I'm not going to listen to a word they say anymore. But people seem to want to give the media second, third, fourth, and fifth chances. They lied about that, but they're telling the truth about this. And I think people just need to shut it off completely and forget about it. And of course, guys like you and I, it's tougher for us too, because they're trying to gain full control of the internet too. I mean, that's the goal, get us off,
It's the last vestige of freedom, the internet is, and I believe there's a number of people working on an internet too, so that people who are freedom-minded and things of that nature, if they want to connect to the internet, can actually connect through that internet rather than the current one. And that's the thing about freedom. I remember I was interviewing Cliff High one time from HuffPassHuman.com, and I said to him that humanity is like a spring. If you put pressure on that spring and push it all the way down, it's going to resist you all the way down. And even if you get it all the way down, it's still going to continue resisting you all the more. And the second you let slip, it's going to pop back up again. That's what the human spirit is like. And Cliff told me, no, Vinny, use an organic example. Humanity's spirit is more like a water spring. Now, what happens when you try to push down water that's bursting its way through to the surface? It starts finding the weak places and the burrowing sideways through sand and through mud and through rock, and then spouting out to the surface from places you couldn't predict or comprehend. That's what humanity's spirit is like.
Well, our spirit's definitely being tested right now. That's for sure. And, I think I've had many guests who say, well, we're here at this time for a reason. And, I hope so. And I hope that we could turn this thing around. I hope that you get justice in your case. I mean, that's horrible. I mean, I hope people are paying attention to this right now too, because this is what's coming everywhere around the world. They don't want you speaking up, protesting, nothing, not unless it's their protest. They send out people for their so-called peaceful protests, and the neighborhoods get burnt down. Let that be a lesson to you.
Yep. Same true in Hong Kong. Some people were giving a presentation here during the 2020 election that I was helping out Billy TK with, my co-accused. And they said that 10,000 Hong Kong protest leaders, 10,000 protest leaders went missing after China took over.
True.
Missing.
I believe it.
All right?
Yeah. I believe it.
People will know that if you stand up against the Chinese government, very soon after, you will learn to make a new career out of breaking large rocks into smaller rocks. Okay?
That's if you're lucky. That's if they don't take your organs first.
Oh, well, it depends how healthy you are. If you're a Falun Gong practitioner and you believe in balance and healthy food and things like that, your organs are just beautiful. You know, they actually had to build. I was hearing multiple extra hospitals just to keep up with the demand. You know, people are coming in on Lear jets on a stretcher, billionaires kind of like, with fresh, just beautiful organs waiting for them, and just do the operation right there, and then they're back on the jet and they're on their way home. You know, it's happening a lot more than anybody would really even realize. And when we're talking about this, it's like the value of human life. Okay, the reason why David Rockefeller and Zbigniew Brzezinski, who started the Council on Foreign Relations and the Trilateral Commission, which almost every member of cabinet of every president of the history of the United States from JFK onwards has belonged to, mind you, they invested in China and the Chinese ideal. Why? Because, as David Rockefeller said, it's the most important experiment for humanity. Why is that? Because the UN needs a base, and it needs a base where things are exactly the way the New World Order is going to be all day long for everybody, everywhere. Okay? So that means you've got your tracer apps that they already have in place, where if you say something against the government, it records it and fines you, or locks you out of your bank account, or locks you out of your house with automatic key doors, you know, things of that nature. Man, it's a terrifying prospect to realize that all the cyberpunk films like Blade Runner and so on and so forth that have been coming out lately have been broadcasting a message of a dark future where people are ruled by technology and an evil overlord of AI. It's basically what they are, is godless souls who want to build their own god so they can rule in hell.
Oh, yeah, and they're trying to turn this place into hell. On top of it, AI, there's been a lot of talk about that lately. And, you know, I tell people all the time, I mean, you can only scratch the surface knowing what they actually have. I mean, what they show us is just minute compared to what they actually have. And, you know, God help us. That's all I could say. You know, people better wake up and wake up quick, because China is the model. Definitely the model for the world. According to the New World Order, that is.
And the Royal Canadian Mounted Police conducted an investigation as to Chinese infiltration of their country, I believe in the late 90s, and that investigation was shut down at the highest levels. The highest levels means the Prime Minister's office, which means in the late 90s, the Chinese already controlled the Prime Ministership of Canada. All right? Here's what they did find before they got shut down, that the Chinese owned 80% of downtown Vancouver, for example. They owned a lot of real estate in Canada, and downtown areas in particular. Indeed, they had a presence, the Chinese Triads, which is the organized crime arm of the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, which is the Chinese CIA. They had a presence in 100% of Canada's ports, all right? And my friend was told this as well back in the day by a Chinese official that he was friends and drinking with. He said, your country's on our list. And he goes, what country? New Zealand, you know? And he said, you've got a lot of countries on our list. I'm going to infiltrate you by having fake passports. All right, all you got to do is bribe a couple of people at a couple of embassies, get yourself a willy-nilly, and hey, you're a citizen. That way, when you purchase the land, you don't get logged as being purchased by a citizen. And you just continue to run the business as usual, and you raise your kids, you make sure they study really hard, and then after they've graduated university, get them to get government jobs. And before you know it, after a generation or two, the Chinese control your country. And it's basically controlled most of the West for the last 20 years or so, plus.
Oh, yeah, they infiltrate from the inside out. You know, it wasn't for a long time, like here in the U.S., borders been open, people been pouring in, have no idea who. Of course, we got a good idea, and of course, and government. I mean, it's all been infiltrated, and we're in a lot of trouble. Definitely.
We're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. People lose hope in situations like this, and I lose hope all the time. You know, hope's a it's a flittery thing. You know, it's like, you know, like trying to catch a butterfly in the dark that's black. You know, and and I think it's mostly just our coping mechanisms that either help us or kill us. You know, if your coping mechanism is to go and do some exercise and eat some healthy food and watch a bit of comedy or something like that, when you're scared that ruthless criminal sociopathic scumbaggery are going to enslave the entire planet and your children and potentially genocide and poison mankind out of existence, you know, that's a bit tough to take. So some of you need to have a drink, some of you need to smoke. Some of you need to go out and dance or something like that. Some of you need to make music with your mates, you know, preferably doing all of those things at once. You know, it's whatever it is that we're doing to cope with the situation we've got is either healthy or unhealthy. And unfortunately, I've been coping in a very unhealthy way. And my body shows it, and so does my mind. Because whatever affects the body affects the mind, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's the problem with us people in the truth movement is that we're too heady, you know. As what was his name? Sir Ken Robinson would say, we view our bodies as a form of transport for our heads. You know, like it's just a way of getting them to meetings.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and you know, and the truth movement too. I mean, and I seen that you had mentioned this before, but a lot of infighting and craziness goes on within it too. It's like, you know, if everyone would just get on the same page and stop trying to beat each other down, you know, we might get further.
Yeah.
In this.
And that's the thing. It's like, okay, Mike, you agree with me, right? We're all going to die unless we stop these people. Yeah, you agree with that? Okay, cool. We're on the same page. You know, it's pretty straightforward. You know, what's your main concern? Vinny Eastwood's bad jokes, or getting frickin' exterminated by a group of frickin' satanic psychopaths? Okay.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not a 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other scenario.
So, with your experience, I guess what's your message that you want to get out there? I mean, you know, this is going to keep happening to people and more. I mean, look, here we had. I don't want to talk about it too much because YouTube will get all bent out of shape about it. But you know, the January 6th stuff that happened here. You know, there was a lot of infiltration and a lot of stinky stuff going on in that situation too, and they use that now to, you know, go after people if you know, they're out there protesting, speaking. I mean, I see it happen here too. They'll arrest people. You know, and they make up. I guess they can make up anything they want.
That's right. And I think that's the problem as well, because people are so clued into their TVs and they're not clued into their community, right? Have you ever noticed that certain unremarkable people possess remarkable wisdom, but they don't know it, all right? Yeah. Like, I was speaking to a guy at a mate's party one time, and his dad imported televisions to New Zealand, very first televisions, and he hated them ever since he was a child, because he can remember still walking down the street and everybody's out on their porch and they say hi and you stop and you talk and things like that, and there was a real kind of community, a sense of togetherness. And he said it was like one day, Vinny, there was none of that. There was just this glow coming out of people's homes.
Yeah, a flicker.
And even those of us who don't watch TV, we're still watching screens of some kind, whether or not you're poison is truth, you know, or movies. It doesn't matter. We're always in front of these freaking screens. We're sitting down way too much. We're not going around and walking around because there's nothing to go to or walk to, right?
Yeah, everything's right there on your phone. You know, just order what you want. I mean, even the stores are going that way where you're not even going to be going into these big stores anymore. They're going to be delivering or bringing them out to you. I mean, I seen there's a Walmart that they have in one state here, and it's fully animated. Like, it's got all robots, and people don't go in the store at all. And I mean, before you know it, we're going to be just little hermits at home, and we're going to be afraid to come out and talk to anybody.
Yeah. You can just imagine a little young child just growing up today like my son, and the sun's out shining and stuff like that, and he's got like a hoodie on, and he's like just opening the door and just kind of like peering outside with his wee beady eyes, just terrified of the outside.
Yeah. Oh, well, here, my God, we'll get 95-degree weather, and these young people are wearing hoodies and big thick coats, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Their pants are falling off of them, but that's a whole nother ball game. That's the least of our worries, maybe.
Well, it's like 3 generations of communist brainwashing will do that, and you can see that it gradually dumbs down and gradually degrades the quality of society. I remember one time I looked at a piece of old footage from, I believe it was 1912 or something like that, New York. And you're walking down and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people everywhere. All of them had a hat and a suit and well done shoes. Everybody was dressed to their best. There wasn't one bummy looking person that you could see. All right? Because people actually took pride in themselves because they had to. Because if you looked shabby and you went in and went for a job, you wouldn't be able to get one, and you wouldn't eat because there was no welfare. Right?
Yeah. Unlike now they want to give everybody everything. So, well, not everybody, but they want to give a lot of people everything. As we experienced in our lockdowns, they were just sending checks to everybody here. And, now we're paying for it. You go in the grocery store, I mean, things are very expensive. It's getting hard to live for the average person. And I'm sure that's everywhere. I don't know. I know it's definitely here.
Well, Jordan Peterson talked about the percentage game, kind of how people on the very, very end of the scale, like, for example, a 20% increase in the price of fruits and vegetables, which we've had in the last year in New Zealand. For somebody right on the edge of the scale, that's the difference between them actually surviving or not. Okay? For me, that's a question of what, other luxuries do I have to give up in order to keep surviving, right? And for somebody who's, I don't know, in the way upper end of the scale, this doesn't make a difference to them whatsoever.
Well, right. And, I often hear our wonderful president here say, that inflation's not gone up, it's gone down. And I'm wondering, like, who's doing your grocery shopping, man? Because it's gone nothing but up. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, just one peach you could pay like almost $3 for. It's like $2 something a pound, it's killing people. I mean, they can't eat good. But if you want to go get yourself the macaroni and cheese, that's still, you can still get that for $1.
That's the other thing as well. When I found out that I had liver problems, my naturopath sponsors the show, incidentally enough, so that was convenient. But it turns out that it's when you're eating carbs, drinking coffee, or having any kind of sugar, or alcohol, or cigarette, or stressful situation, that all puts stress on the liver. And the liver's got like 3 different repair cycles. So even if you give up 1 or 2 or 3 or one of them per day, you're still going to stop the liver from cleansing properly. Now, what's interesting about that is the first sign that you've got liver damage and liver problems is that you become apathetic. Now, those things that I just listed, I have a name for that list of things. It's called the things everybody does all day, every day. Right. So why would if I may be so clerical on this, why would the New World Order style our entire diet and lifestyle to be designed to give us liver damage and apathy? And what can you do? to an apathetic population?
Phew, good question.
You could do anything you want, and they'll just put up with it because they don't care. That's what's going on here. I think maybe that's the root of this entire issue, regardless of what anybody's talking about. The fact is that nobody really cares because they've been physically poisoned to disable their ability to.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, and that would actually make sense to what I see around me often. I had one guy come up to me. He says, "Oh, I know what's going on because I watch CNN." And I started laughing, and I don't care if you watch Fox, CNN, or what you watch. That's not you're not you're not in the know. If you're believing everything they're feeding you, then you better spend a little time on the internet, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, well, as Mark Twain said, if you read only newspapers, you are misinformed.
Yeah.
And if you read nothing at all, then you're just uninformed.
What else I find strange is now we're seeing marijuana being legalized, which they've fought against for so long. They're saying UFOs are real. They've hid that for so long. And now this stuff, it's like that kind of makes me think, what are they up to? Why all of a sudden are they, giving truth to these things a little bit? It's trying. I mean, after 70 years of covering it up, and of course cannabis, you got caught with that. Some places you still get the death penalty for it, but it's starting. They're easing up everywhere. Why do you think that is?
Well, there's a couple of reasons for it. Number one, cannabis makes a hell of a lot of money. The number one cash crop in Alabama, I believe, is cannabis, and this is pre-legalization.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's got many, many uses of all different strains and varieties. For example, do you want to cure something? Anything? If you've got cannabis, you could do it. You can use the Rick Simpson Phoenix Tears method and refine that cannabis down to pure THC CBD oil, ingest it, and it will repair whatever's wrong with you. Why is that? It's because of the cannabinoid molecule. You've got cannabinoids in your system from birth. It's called the endocannabinoid system. Your mother's milk is rich with it. That's why babies appear to get milk drunk, which I would advise people that it's actually milk blazed. All right? Just like the baby just, oh man, that milk, man. Oh. You see? And the way it works is basically it's what I would call a transmutable molecule. Your little receptors on your cells, like a little sea anemone, and they're sitting there waiting to catch stuff that's going through the system. And one of these little transmutable molecules comes along, and it's got an arrangement like a stick or a twig or something like that. And the cell sends it a signal and says, "Bro, yeah, I am craving some zinc, bro. Have you got any zinc?" And the cannabinoid molecule rummages around and rearranges itself into something resembling a zinc molecule and pops itself into the cell. And that's why cannabis appears to work for everything.
Amazing. Yeah,
That's why they want to legalize it, both on our side and on the enemy's side. Because if the enemy have the access and the patent to cannabis, they can engineer it, they can switch it up, they can take good things out, they can put bad things in, and they can have control over the cannabinoid arrangements, all right? Normally the cannabinoid can just come in and arrange into pretty much anything, but if they split it down and stuff like that, so you can only take one kind of cannabis for one kind of thing, and they could just keep clipping the ticket, and they could just grow it in the sun, which doesn't cost them anything.
So they could destroy it, basically. Like they do everything.
Whatever they seek to control, they seek to destroy, including humanity.
Yeah, absolutely. So, your show, you're still going then, right? They didn't stop you from...
Well, not entirely. I mean, I had 65,000 subscribers and hundreds of people watching while I was live and maybe 2,000 views before the 2-hour show was over. And now I'm lucky if I can get a couple dozen people watching.
Yeah, well, they're definitely trying to shut you down. I mean, I remember on YouTube, while looking at one video from the night before, and looking at the count on it, I went and did a live show. I came back after that show 3 hours later and looked again, and it had 2,000 less views than it had when I started the new show. And I'm like, how does a video that's already over with, how does it lose 2,000 views? I mean, so numbers are played with, definitely. And that's a shame.
It messes with your head too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. And sometimes I guess, it makes you think sometimes, why am I doing this? But you know what? If you can get 12 people to listen and those 12 people tell somebody else, you just got to keep moving on. You can't let them stop you. Got to do what you do.
It's. I was talking with Jonathan Eisen, who's the editor of Uncensored magazine and the New Zealand Journal of Natural Medicine down here in New Zealand. Had a wide circulation. That's been shut down as well. And he said the reason why we do this is because, well, out of that dozen people, there might be one person who changes their life after listening to this broadcast. They might have heard something that really spurs them on. They might actually start going and cleaning the garage up, when they hadn't they've been putting it off for ages. They might go and get their liver checked. They might stop drinking coffee, or they might do hundreds of thousands of different things that you could possibly do when you're influenced by a show like this with the information that it comes out of it. And that's why you do it, for that one person who might improve their life and then send a ripple effect out and benefit all the people in theirs. That's why you do it, not because that stuff comes back to you, but because it goes out into the world.
That's right. That's all. If I ever got into this just to get rich, I might as well have quit, because, that's never was my intention. I just enjoy connecting with people and, exposing lies and, and experiencing, whatever it is, whether it be scientific stuff or what have you. I love getting into it, and I love getting people to talk about what they, quote unquote, don't want people to talk about. I think, it's important that we push and do our thing, and I'll stop when the good Lord calls my number, I guess. Until then, I'm just going to keep fighting on. And if it ain't at one outlet, I'll find another one. Right now I have a website that I broadcast on radio, and then I also use Rumble and YouTube. And, I notice a big difference from Rumble to YouTube. YouTube, the numbers get suppressed dramatically. On Rumble, they go a lot better, which is kind of strange to me, but okay. I mean, it is what it is. But anyways, before we're done here, Vinny, I want to give you the floor. Get out anything else that you like. And maybe we could do this again in the future, and maybe put a longer time into it, because I think there's a lot of other things we could discuss. I know you got a lot going on in your life right now, and I hope it all works out for you.
Oh yeah. Final parting words. I mean, if your audience is feeling like me and like many other people, you might be feeling down in the dumps and things like that. And basically, there's one lesson I've really learned as being an activist, is that when you need help, ask for it, and it shall appear. All right?
Yeah.
Ask and you shall receive, quite literally. So I'd like to ask people to go to Facebook and search out the Vinny Eastwood and Billy TK appeal, so that you can come down, and if you're in New Zealand, and come to the Waterloo Quadrant and get all that stuff going. But the day democracy died, the little documentary that I made about that is quite awesome, and I would like people to go to the VinnyEastwoodShow.com and just look at the Day Democracy Died banner, little blue banner, and go through and see that. Sign the petition at change.org as well. Vinny Eastwood and Billy TK should be able to get you up there. So there's petitioning. There's recommending me and Billy to other talk radio show hosts and other networks, colleagues, and things of that nature. Can we get on the radio? Can we get on the air? Because it is July 17th. The appeal is on July the 31st. So we have a limited time window to drum up support for this issue, because it's not just New Zealand that really stands on the line, it's really the world. Because if the world stands by and says that, hey, if you're protesting lockdowns and these measures that we all don't like and things of that nature, and we just let you go to jail and we don't express really any support on you, what's going to happen when it starts happening to us? Because it will. And it probably already is.
They often don't care until it comes knocking on their door, and I promise it will at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So before that happens, make sure you set out your barricades. Okay, this is tactical thinking. You find all these hotspots where these issues are going on and you target those. Why? Because that is how you keep the enemy at bay. Wherever there is attention on their agenda, that is where your attention is best spent so that you can get coverage of it. It's a simple math. And that's why I'm actually just so grateful, Mike. I'm actually very sorry and very grateful, because I'm so sorry that I'm not more grateful. You know, like there's so many people. I was just thinking today actually about people who gave me a chance and helped me to get where I am today. And I was just thinking about it. It's a huge, huge list. Hundreds and hundreds of people who've gone out of their way to give me a hand when I needed it, and to give me a leg up when I needed that, or a piece of equipment, or a sandwich, you know. Whatever it is, people have been there to provide it when I've needed it, an exact amount that I need it, exactly when I need it, you know. And I think that is the lesson of being in the truth, right? Somebody comes up to you and says, Mike, I want you to sell lies. And you're like, lies? What? Why do I sell those? Well, mate, you're going to be rich. Okay. You're going to have as many women as you want, all the drugs that you want, all those famous and amazing and beautiful people that you see on the TV and stuff like that. They're going to be your friends. You're going to hang out at their parties and their homes and stuff like that. You're like, really? That's what I get if I sell lies? Yeah, mate. Oh, okay. What about you, mate? What do you reckon I should sell? I reckon you should sell the truth, Mike. Oh, yeah? What do I get if I sell the truth? Well, you're probably going to lose most of your friends and become somewhat of a social pariah. And living's going to be not easy, but it's going to be possible. You need a better sales pitch, mate, is what I'm saying. Really, you want some people to sell truth based on that pitch. It's just like, yeah, I'm sorry, it's the truth, mate. I can't dress it up. You're like, okay. Yeah. Well, what are the unintended consequences of selling lies then, mate? Well, all those people, the famous and beautiful people who think are your friends, yeah, they're not really your friends. They don't actually care about you. And they'll vanish as soon as stuff goes sideways for you. And stuff will go sideways for you if you open your big mouth or don't do what you're told by the people who give you all your money. Because then they'll stop giving you your money. And then people will stop talking to you. And then you'll have nothing. Oh.
And you'll be remembered as a liar. Yeah.
Well, what are the unintended consequences of telling the truth then? Well, you won't have too many friends. But the ones you do have, you can count on. You can rely on them. And they truly care about you. And they'll be there when you need them. And everything you need to survive, everything you need to progress to the next level, no matter really what it is, if you truly need it, it'll appear for you. And you'll be able to live your life and have a good night's sleep every night that you want to.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and that's where I'm at. Believe me, I've had the golden carrot dangled in front of my face before, and certainly wasn't offered to beautiful women, but the money, you turn it down, and I'll tell you, it's been a rough ride. I've been doing this for 15 years now, and I've had ups and downs, probably more downs than ups, but I enjoy doing it. I've met incredible people. I've talked to some of the most brilliant minds, and and I wouldn't trade it for nothing. And so, I still fight on. I used to do 5 nights a week. I got attacked and jarred around quite badly. Even my everything was being attacked. Every night was a challenge just to get the broadcast off. But it's just still here, still doing it. I'm not going to stop. And I hope you don't either, man. And I'm going to pass this around everywhere. It'll be on all the social medias. I'll post it everywhere I can. And I wish you the best, my friend. And I hope we could do this again soon.
Yeah, man. Talk radio is a atrocious field. And what that means is that not everybody can do it. Definitely not everybody can do it. It's easier to become a Navy SEAL than it is to become a talk radio show host with longevity.
That's true.
Right?
That's
90%.
It's like pizza shops. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah, it's like the 90-10 window, right? For every month that your show is on, there's a 90% chance that you ain't going to make it another month. For every year your show's on, there's a 90% chance you ain't going to make it another year. And you and I have been here for 15 years apiece, all right? Yeah. There's something different about us, all right? It takes a certain talent, and not everybody has. And it's not the high watermark of being a human being, being a talk radio show host. We're people just like everybody else. We've got our flaws and differences and things of that nature. It's just a skill, Other people have got skills. I know all my mates, so they've got skills that I wish I had, but I don't. I'm not an electrician. I'm not a builder. I'm not a gardener who knows all about all the plants and stuff like that. But fortunately, I've got mates who are.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a passion, too, And so I'm just glad to be a part of it. And, man, I wish you the best, Vinny. It was a really good talking to you tonight. Please follow up with me. Let me know how things are going. If you need to, if you want to come back on and talk about it again, I'd be more than happy to have you.
All right. Well, it might be either before the case or after the case. So after the case is either right after the case or after a couple of months after the case. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, thank you again, Vinny, and all the best to you and yours, and keep up the fight, my friend.
Thank you so much, Mike. You do a great show, mate.
Thank you. So do you, my friend. Have a good one.
Cheers, brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. There he goes, Vinny Eastwood, and fighting for his freedom right now, just for protesting. And folks, peacefully protesting, if I may add. And it's like I said, this stuff will trickle down. I mean, what you're seeing is a world agenda. It really is a world agenda. Again, China's the model. And, remember when we were having the lockdowns here, they talked about sending the military to people's doors to make sure they get, shot up, if you will. Won't go there tonight. I can tomorrow night, though, because I won't be on this platform. This is the part that I hate about doing the tube. The part I hate about that is that certain things because if you say it, they'll take your channel right down. And I can't tell you how many times I start over here, and I do it just because I want to keep some of you listeners. Just you're stuck on YouTube, you won't leave, and so I try to connect with you. And tell you, it's not easy some nights. It's really not. So Vinny Eastwood, folks, go check him out. Look for him on Facebook, the Vinny Eastwood Show. He's done a great service to the truth movement, and I hope you'll support him and spread the word. I'm going to take a break. Then when I come back, I've got Dr. Rand coming on. He's waiting in the, as we say, the green room. So we'll be bringing him aboard. You're listening to The Last Frequency on the VARA network. Don't go away, because it's not quite over yet. All right? We'll be back.